I'm Patricia Worth. I'm going to read you a story, the first chapter of a story from the Clarion Call, Volume 4, Fairytale Riot. The story is Tears on the Sword, originally by Catulle Mendès. I'm going to read you my translation in English. Catulle Mendès was a French writer of Portuguese descent. He wrote a lot of stories that were reworked fairy tales that were aimed at a decadent adult readership, though this one is also suitable for older children. Originally called Les Larmes sur l'épée, I've translated it as Tears on the Sword, and it was first published in 1885. Chapter 1. Once when the valiant knight Roland was returning from fighting the Moriscos, he was letting his horse catch its breath in a Pyrenean pass when he heard a shepherd tell of an enchanter not far from there who was making himself odious to the whole country by his tyranny and cruelty. At this tale, the horse pricked its ear, shook its mane, and made ready to gallop away, for it was aware that its master usually put little time between being informed of such crimes and punishing the guilty parties. But the righter of wrongs, patient that day, questioned the mountain shepherd at length. He learnt of some very strange things. The evil magician who lived in a castle by the sea did not limit himself to robbing travellers, laying the countryside to waste, setting villages on fire, ravishing young girls and bashing old men. He was also victorious over all the noble men who came to challenge him with the intention of putting an end to so much barbarity. The most worthy of them bit the dust. Even by fleeing they could not evade death. The castle keep was lashed on one side by a furious sea, and on the other there were enormous heaps of bones, gnawed by animals and bleached by rain. And there was always a flock of ravens hovering in the sky, unfurling like a black banner at the top of the tower. Good Roland could not help laughing. How could he believe that an evil sorcerer had defeated paladins clad in iron, their swords drawn or lances couched? The storyteller did not know what he was saying, or else those who had defied the lord of the keep were cowards, unworthy of the name of knight, little pages who had put on battle dress for play. "Good master," said the shepherd, "it is not out of bravery that the enchanter brings harm to all his enemies. He has invented with his infernal science a weapon unknown until this day that kills from a distance with no danger to the one who kills." "What?" said Roland, much surprised, and feeling a bad taste rise to his lips as though he had swallowed rotten meat. The shepherd continued, "He is careful not to go down onto the plain to face the combatants, for he well knows that if he offered his breast, even covered in bronze, it would quickly be pierced. He stays crouched behind his fortifications or behind the bone heap. Then from his hiding place comes a sharp sound. A flame suddenly bursts out, and with no time to say an Our Father, the knight who had been confidently advancing falls to the ground, a red wound in his neck or forehead. 'In the name of Jesus, conqueror of Tervagant,' cried Charlemagne's nephew. 'I've never heard of such cowardly behaviour. It's truly very fortunate that I stopped in this wild place to let my horse catch its breath, for I think that before the day is out, if the saints will lend me their assistance, and if his dwelling is not too far off, I will have punished the treacherous man whose life is an offence to God. But speak frankly, do you know how and of what this diabolical weapon is made?' 'It is said to be composed of a rather long tube, in which a bit of saltpetre is lit at one end, and from the other end comes a metal ball which shoots through the air, goes straight to the target, and strikes with lightning speed.' Roland asked nothing more. He gathered up the reins, squeezed the horse with his knees, the metal clanking, and with its mane flying the horse galloped shoreward. But the gallant knight hung his head sadly during the ride. he was loath to soil his sword with the blood of a coward. It was the first time he was going into battle without pleasure. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to see more of my translations or to find out what I have translated, some translations are free and they're available on my website, patriciaworthtranslator.com. Bye.